Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There's something I need you to know, and I won't wait until you're ready to hear it, because in a deeper way, you already are. God is proud of you. Not because you followed the rules perfectly, not because you stayed calm when you were supposed to scream, not even because you kept faith when everything tried to bury it. God is proud of you because you kept becoming, even when everything around you told you it would be easier to just stop. And maybe you didn't always hear that in the past. Maybe nobody said it to you when you were younger, when you did the right thing with shaking hands, when you gave away your last bit of strength and still didn't receive what you needed. Maybe no one noticed when you quietly chose love, in a moment when revenge would have made far more noise. But heaven did. That's the part you need to sit with today. Nothing good you've done has gone unseen. You've been walking with a spiritual integrity that doesn't beg for applause. You've been breaking cycles, clearing bloodlines, holding peace in places where anger was the only language. You've made healing decisions without any guarantee of reward, and every time you did, you built something eternal. You see, God isn't impressed by appearances. You don't win divine favor by performing your pain correctly. That's not what this is. That's not who you are. You're not being recognized for suffering quietly. You're being honored for rising truthfully, for being real in your storms, for not abandoning your light to fit into rooms that mistook your humility for weakness, for feeling everything and still returning to love, not the emotion, but the choice. You have no idea how rare that is. There's a sacred kind of power in someone who can walk through fire without becoming what burned them. Someone who can see cruelty clearly and still choose not to pass it forward. That's the kind of strength no sermon can teach, no textbook can capture. And you, whether you realize it yet or not, are carrying that exact kind of power. You've taught God more about faith than most people ever will, because your faith didn't come from comfort. It was carved out of the in-between, formed in the places where nothing made sense, and still, you didn't give up on the story. That's why the blessings coming to you now feel different. It's not just your time in some generic cosmic cycle. It's the moment when your truth finally starts to echo louder than your trials. You earned this season in silence, through late nights no one knew about, through self-restraint that looked like defeat to people who never understood your discipline, through decisions that made no sense on paper but aligned perfectly with your spirit. So now something shifts. The light you've been cultivating in private starts to ripple outward. The peace you used to fight for shows up with less resistance, and people begin to feel something around you that even they can't explain. That's not a coincidence. That's the fruit of a soul that didn't quit. And maybe you still feel unsure about it. Maybe you're still getting used to the idea that goodness is allowed to come to you without chaos as its price tag. Maybe joy still feels foreign, like a language you used to speak fluently but forgot after too many years of survival. That's okay. It's returning now. And not because you manifested it perfectly. Not because you finally found the right words to say in prayer, but because even when you doubted yourself, God didn't. The divine knew exactly what it was doing when it put that spirit in your body, when it gave you eyes that see deeper, a heart that feels further, a voice that carries more weight than you know. You are what healing looks like in motion. You are what integrity looks like in a world that rewards performance. You are what it means to walk as a soul that remembers its source, even when the world forgets. And listen, it hasn't been easy. The most sacred transformations rarely are. There were nights when you didn't sleep, mornings when you didn't want to wake up and try again, moments where everything in you wanted to retaliate, but instead you released. And that version of you, that quiet warrior, that's the one heaven celebrates the loudest. Not the perfect you, not the polished you, but the honest you. The one who wrestled, the one who stayed, the one who surrendered without quitting. You don't need to earn a seat at the divine table anymore. You've already built it, with your resilience, with your love, with your choice to keep walking when you had every reason to sit down. And now, that seat is being prepared, because the God who watched you through every battle is now placing honor in your hands. And it's not a favor, it's a response. So here you are now, standing at the edge of a life that finally recognizes you. And maybe it feels strange. Maybe you're not used to this kind of ease, to doors opening without a fight, to people seeing your value without you having to first prove your pain. But let me say it clearly. It's your turn now. Not just for peace, but for joy. Not just for survival, but for expansion. Because there's a difference between getting by and being blessed. And for too long, you've known how to endure. But now you're about to remember how to receive. That kind of shift doesn't happen just because time passes. It happens when alignment catches up with identity, when your soul is no longer playing small just to avoid drawing too much attention. And make no mistake, your presence is powerful. You're not just a light in someone's darkness. You're the proof that a soul can be both soft and unbreakable, that someone can lose everything and still choose to build again without bitterness. You carry the kind of grace that makes people question their masks, the kind of truth that doesn't need to scream to be heard. And now, the universe is answering you back, not just in signs and whispers, but in real, tangible shifts. Opportunities that find you without effort, relationships that don't exhaust you just to feel seen. Paths that once felt blocked beginning to clear in front of you, not because it's finally easy, but because you've become ready. You didn't skip steps to get here. You lived every inch of this story. And don't let anyone make you feel like you have to explain that. You don't have to recount your scars for them to respect your strength. You don't owe anyone your journey just to validate your destination. Let them wonder. Let them question how you got here. God saw it all. God kept count when no one else could. You were seen in every silent prayer, in every moment of restraint, in every quiet decision to not go back to the version of you that begged for crumbs when you were born to command the feast. You've grown in a way that no algorithm can capture, no camera can show. You've expanded in your core. And from this point forward, the world is going to feel different, not because it changed, but because you did. Your discernment is sharper now. You don't entertain what drains you. You don't chase what confuses you. You don't bargain with energy that feels off just because it comes dressed as opportunity. You've learned what peace actually feels like, and that's why you no longer tolerate the chaos that used to feel normal. You're not above anyone. You just stop shrinking beneath yourself. That's what spiritual maturity looks like. It's not some grand arrival. It's the daily, quiet refusal to shrink. The subtle choices to stay true when compromise would be easier. The deep knowing that your value doesn't fluctuate based on who recognizes it. And now, the rewards aren't just coming. They're right here. In the way your body feels safer to live in the way your spirit feels less scattered, in the way you don't need to be understood anymore to feel whole. Because the reward isn't just what you're about to receive, it's who you became while waiting. Let that sink in. This isn't just a new chapter, it's a different book. The rules are not the same. The version of you who needed everyone's approval doesn't run this story anymore. The version of you who mistook loyalty for self-betrayal doesn't hold the pen. You do. And the hand that holds that pen was kissed by God before it ever knew what power it carried. So write boldly, live truthfully, choose with confidence, not because you've never failed, but because every fall was a rehearsal for your rise. Every decision, every heartbreak, every lonely moment, every time you started again, even when you were still bleeding from the last ending, it was all counted, it was all held, it was all holy. Because God is proud of you, for persisting, for presence, not because you were fearless, but because you moved anyway. The divine is watching, and heaven is already applauding. You've earned more than just survival. You've earned honor, and it's here now. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey